Now on this one we can see all the same things we just talked about, they just look a little different and a little bit better actually. So here's the whole kidney, here's the capsule, cortex, medulla. The medulla has your pyramids, medullary pyramids here, and then the renal columns, which is just the space between the pyramids that's in the medulla. Pyramids go down to a papilla. The papilla is going to drain the urine into the minor calyx. Minor calyces come together to form a major calyx. Major calyces come together to form the renal pelvis. Renal pelvis dumps urine into the ureter. Now remember, the urine that's entering these minor calyxes through the papilla is coming from the collecting ducts up here with the that are associated with the nephrons. Blood supply, we've got renal artery and vein. Renal artery splits into segmental. Segmental becomes lobar at the minor level of the minor calyx. You can see lobar here. When it goes between the renal pyramids, it's interlobar. Here, 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 here. Comes up and around the tops of the pyramids as arcuate. Remember, the arcuate artery and veins separate the cortex and the medulla. Those arcuate arteries are going to give off cortical radiate arteries or interlobular arteries. Alright, this one right here is showing you one large renal pyramid. You've got the cortex associated with that. Here's your renal capsule. Here's your arcuate artery and vein separating the cortex from the medulla. This would be an interlobar artery and vein. Off the arcuate artery, you have your interlobular arteries here. Those interlobular arteries are going to give off small arteries called afferent arterioles. Okay, here's your afferent arteriole up close, and then we can see it giving rise to the glomerulus, leaving via the efferent arteriole. The blood will leave through the efferent arteriole. On this side, we can see our peritubular capillaries here. Okay, so these would come from those efferent arterioles. So you can see one here, afferent arteriole leaving, turning into peritubular capillaries here. This is your vasa recta. Okay, they're going to go deep into the pyramids following those long loops of Henle here. So this is vasa recta as well. This one is nice because it's also showing us the tubule system, so you can see the Bowman's capsule around that glomerulus, and these little white ones are Bowman's capsules here. But it's showing you two that are cut, so you can see the actual glomerulus inside, the Bowman's capsule on the outside. Filtrate's going to enter the proximal convoluted tubule from there, go down the descending loop of Henle, thick and thin, up the ascending loop of Henle. Over here you can see thin and thick, through the distal convoluted tubule, through the connecting tubule, and then into the collecting duct. Each of these connecting tubules is from another nephron, and this urine will all coalesce in the papillary duct, which is right down here, and then exit the papilla into the minor calyx, which would be here. Notice the different lengths of these tubes. This is a juxtamedullary nephron, goes all the way down into the renal pyramid. These are used for urine concentration. This is a cortical nephron, which is what most of your nephrons look like, with a short loop of Henle. Now we can look close up at the glomerulus here. Okay, here we have our afferent arteriole coming in. Usually afferent's a little bit bigger, but it also has this area of specialized cells in it. Here's the glomerulus. Again, on this one, half is covered with podocytes, half is not, but the whole thing is the glomerulus. These cells are the podocytes The blue dots are the nucleus of the podocytes. Remember, these guys are like amoebas. They have long feet with foot processes. And if you look closely at this, you can see those little squiggly lines. Those are actually the little foot processes from the podocyte. Then blood will exit through the efferent arteriole. Filtrate will collect here in the Bowman's space, lined by the Bowman's capsule, and proceed into the proximal convoluted tubule. These are those columnar cells, and on this one you can actually see the microvilli. And then it'll continue through the tubule system. As it comes back around through the distal convoluted tubule, remember that distal convoluted tubule comes up right next to the afferent arteriole. Where these two meet is called the juxtaglomerular apparatus. The specialized cells in the distal tubule that touch the afferent arteriole are called macula densa cells. So these are the little columnar looking cells on here. Most of the cells in the distal convoluted tubule are cuboidal. These cells are more columnar and are highly specialized for detecting urine osmolarity. These cells in the afferent arteriole are also specialized. These are called JG cells, or granular cells. Afferent arteriole glomerulus, efferent arteriole, podocytes. The podocyte nucleus is blue. Foot processes, all those little teeny feet. Bowman's capsule, Bowman's space, proximal convoluted tubule, distal macula densa cells. Alrighty, same gist. Capsule, cortex, medulla, up close of a pyramid, arcuate artery, interlobular artery giving off afferent arterioles and little glomeruli here, surrounded by Bowman's capsule. Proximal convoluted tubule is in the bright yellow on all of these. Descending loop of Henle, thick and thin. Ascending, thin and thick. Distal convoluted tubule is light yellow here. On these it's nice because you can actually see the distal convoluted tubule coming right next to the glomerulus again. Here's your connecting tubule. Here's your collecting duct. More connecting tubules. Papillary duct down here. Over here, this one's nice because you can see the tubule network. So here's Bowman's capsule, proximal convoluted tubule in bright yellow, loop of Henle going down into the medulla, distal convoluted tubule in light yellow, connecting duct or connecting tubule, collecting duct, and here you can see your peritubular capillary network. So the peritubular capillaries actually surround the proximal and distal convoluted tubules, because when you're reabsorbing stuff from these tubes, you need to put it somewhere, so it goes back into those capillaries. So this is peritubular capillaries here around the tubes, and then this is your vasa recta. Looks like a ladder, follows the long loops of Henle in the medulla, vasa recta. You can look at this a little bit close up. This is just showing you cross sections of different parts of the tube. So this is proximal convoluted tubule, distal convoluted tubule, thin loop of Henle. Here's your glomerulus, afferent arteriole, efferent arteriole, proximal convoluted tubule in bright yellow, distal convoluted tubule in the peachy color. And right here it's showing you where the distal convoluted tubule intersects with the afferent arteriole, and you have your juxtaglomerular apparatus and then your macula densa cells in the tubule portion. This is just showing you again another close-up view. Afferent arteriole, glomerulus. These white cells are podocytes, and you can see their little feet, their foot processes coming off of there. Efferent arteriole leaving. Bowman's space, Bowman's capsule, proximal convoluted tubule, distal tubule, macula densa cells. Alright, again, we just have histology of the kidney. So this is microscopic. Remember, all these structures you can't see with the naked eye. You have to have a microscope to see these. But this one you can see afferent arteriole, efferent arteriole. These yellow cells are your specialized granular cells around the afferent arteriole, and some of your cells that are part of this juxtaglomerular apparatus. You don't have to know what those are, at least not yet. This is the glomerulus. The green cells on top are your podocytes, and you have to look close on this to see the foot processes, but you can see little things coming off of there. Bowman's space, Bowman's capsule in green, proximal convoluted tubule here. And on this one it's nice because you can see the cuboidal cells and then this little blue line, which is your microvilli. This is also proximal convoluted tubule with microvilli in blue, proximal convoluted tubule with microvilli in blue. This would be part of your distal tubule, cuboidal cells, but no microvilli. As well as this one here is distal tubule, and then you have your macula densa cells here right next to the afferent arteriole. This is your loop of Henle. You can tell because these cells are much flatter, so this is probably thin loop of Henle. And then this is your collecting duct. And that's it.